Hey everyone, welcome back to Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where I teach you all about miniature painting from start to finish and everything in between. Yes. And this is part 42. Can't believe we're already at part 42. And it is checkers, painting checkers, freehand checkers on things. So today we'll be painting a large checker pattern on this orc truck. Obviously, I'm typically painting checkers on smaller objects, but a large vehicle is just a great way to show an example of how to paint checkers. This can obviously be applied to smaller objects as well. So today we'll be painting a white and black checker pattern. What I like to do is add an intermediate first. So I'll be using ADMINISTRATUM gray as the intermediate color to do the framework of the checker pattern, and then fill it in with the white, with white scars, and then clean it up using ABADDON black, which is the darker color in the checker pattern. So let's begin with ADMINISTRATUM gray. And once again, whenever painting checker patterns, you want to thin down your paints greatly, as you do whenever you're freehanding. You don't want your paint to be too clunky when you put it on with your brush. So you want to thin it down to get a nice consistency, and then apply it to the surface of the truck or whatever surface you want to do with the checkered pattern. As I said, so I like to choose an intermediate. If possible, find an intermediate color to the checker pattern you're doing, whether it be blue or yellow or green or whatever color you wish to do the checker pattern in. So let's start with the ADMINISTRATUM gray. As you can see, I'm just slowly dragging my brush horizontally across the truck. And I want to do 2 rows of checkers. So I will be doing 3 horizontal lines total. And you can see it's quite thinned down in paint. And just try to keep a steady hand. You don't have to be perfect. Remember, orcs wouldn't have a perfect checkered pattern. So it's okay to go slightly off, but you want to keep it a little bit clean. And you see I'm just going over these lines, clean them up, and that's it. So we have our 3 horizontal lines for our checker pattern first. And then next you go and take the intermediate color, ADMINISTRATUM gray, and do vertical lines. As you can see, I'm just taking my time and drawing very smooth lines vertically across the section, creating the checkered pattern. And after you've done creating as many checkers as you want, it's time to fill in half the squares, alternating between up and down. So we'll start with the top left and do that with ADMINISTRATUM gray. And then bottom second one. Just alternating the checkered pattern. And the great thing about gray is that gray is an easy color for white to go over, so it sets the foundation for the white. While at the same time, black is quite easily able to go over it and clean up the lines afterwards. So that's why I want to use an intermediate color in this process, and that way it just saves a lot of time when applying the white, and it's still an easy color to erase over when using the black. You can see I'm just filling in these squares to create the checkered pattern. And there we go, the first step is complete. But now it's time to go over these gray areas with white scar. And once again, I'm going to thin down white scar so I can apply 1 or 2 nice even coats over the gray areas and get them to now be white. I don't want it to look too chalky, and I don't want to show brush strokes on it, so that's why I use thin down paints. But obviously, as you're noticing, since I'm going over the gray lines, and the lines are what I use to divide up the squares, there's a lot more gray on the checker pattern right now than black, because the gray lines are being enveloped into the white. And we will be fixing that up with the next step, which will be the ABADDON black. But as I mentioned, I'm just continuing to go down the checker pattern with white scar. And as I mentioned before, always start with the checker pattern with the light color and then clean it up with the darker color, because it's easier for a dark color to go over light than a light color to go over the dark. That's why I start with the white, and I'll clean it up over with the black. If I was using a blue and a red, I would just go with whatever the darker color of the 2 would be. Typically, some good checker patterns are a strong contrast, such as yellow on red, yellow on black, white on black, etc. And when that step was complete and the white was all done, as you can see here, there's a lot less black on the checker pattern than white, because we enveloped the lines into the white. So now the goal is to clean up this and to balance out the sections of black using, of course, ABADDON black. So we'll thin down the ABADDON black, and what we're going to do is very carefully and precisely clean up those lines. So we're going to slowly work our way towards each section of white in each direction, and just remove some of the white from this pattern and balance out the amount of white to the amount of black, because and we're going to do this vertically as well and horizontally, because then we'll get a nice even checker pattern and it'll be nice and clean. And once again, you don't have to have perfect lines when doing these. It's good to try to work on your patterns and keep them as nice as possible, but orcs would not have a perfect checkered pattern, and that's why I like doing freehand patterns as opposed to decals, because decals look too perfect for an orc army. As you see now, and you do have the option of leaving a little bit of the gray line just to keep the closedness of the checker pattern, or you can fill it in entirely and just have the an open checker pattern. And I'm just going to repeat this process with the one on the bottom left, and you'll see I'm just going to fill it in very slowly and carefully so that the amount of black is equal to the amount of white on the checkered pattern. And as you can see, the black goes very easily over the gray or the white and is able to clean up this pattern with relative ease. And just keep going down the circle, as you can see, or down the checkered pattern, sorry. And as you can see, it's just getting filled in, and the amount of white and black is starting to really balance, and it's looking really clean and nice. By just doing steady strokes. Once again, the key is to practice your strokes, get nice steady strokes with a thin down paint, and just clean up the paint and balance the amount of white to black one stroke at a time. And try to maintain a relatively clean line horizontally through the checker pattern. I'm just finishing up with the top right. As you can see, it's just closing in towards the left and then vertically so that it lines up perfectly with the one beside it. And that's it. And now here you have the final checkered pattern. As you can see, it's quite orky. It is a little bit of an illusion since I painted over a textured material of the truck, but it is relatively straight and it looks clean, and that's what is a simple checkered pattern, and it's going to definitely look orky, and that's what we do. So to summarize this video, number one, thin down your paint so that you get nice even brush strokes and you don't clunk up the details, it doesn't look too chalky, and you're able to cover up one paint with another. Number two, use an intermediate color for the framework of the checker pattern when possible. Number three, use the light color first. And number four, clean up the checkered pattern with the darker color, which should easily be able to go over the lighter color. The better checker patterns have strong contrast as well. And that's it. Those are the steps to doing a nice checkered pattern on an orc vehicle, but you can easily take this approach and apply it to any miniature that you wish. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Miniature Painting 101. I really hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for next week, part 43, which is just around the corner. But if you can't wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link below for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel, where not only will we get to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes, you'll get to see start to finish painting tutorials, battle reports, and just some awesome wargaming content. So go ahead and check it out. I think you'll really love it. And thank you very much for watching once again. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.